everyone to episode 98 of the internet sensation known as Triple Threat Talk. We are without just Kendra today, but I am Gary the Dr. Locker, joined as always by Big B, Brendan DeMiro, and Jimmy, Postmaster Jones Biggers. How you guys doing today?
Doing alright, but to what you said about just Kendra, she's not here this week. I didn't message her this morning and see if she was going to be on the show this week. Didn't hear back from her, so I don't know what the status is, but it looks like, considering she'd be moving the 17th, last week might have been her last show. Don't know again, so we'll keep
it was good having her on the show.
Yeah, it was. So.
It really was.
So apparently the doctor had celebrated 420 Pacific with RVD, and that's why he's wearing those glasses.
It's one of those things right now where, it's a couple days past Derby and the doc is still recovering. Did you guys have a good Derby weekend?
Recovering from what, fella?
Recovering from the beating I took at the betting window.
Juleps.
Mint julep.
I didn't do anything Saturday. Nothing. Nothing. Sit around the house all day.
It was a typical Derby of rain.
Yes, it rained. I didn't do anything.
It does always rain on Derby Day.
Is what I said on Facebook, a Derby downer for sure.
It always had. Last year it happened. The year before that it happened. It always rains.
I did go to a big shindig on Friday.
Yeah, we heard about that.
We'll get to that.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that.
I did go see the new Jackie Robinson movie on Sunday.
How was it?
24?
No.
Reverse that.
42.
How was it?
It was good. Even if you're not a baseball fan, which my wife Stephanie's not really big into baseball too much, but she actually enjoyed the movie. She thought it was a good movie.
Is this a movie review?
No, I'm just...
It's a sports movie!
He asked me how it was. I'm issuing my opinion.
So it's technically...
Calm yourself.
I'm just asking a question.
Check yourself.
Is it technically a review?
Technically, I guess it could be.
Okay, then, so go ahead.
Postmaster's review.
It is a good movie. Even if you're not a baseball fan or a sports fan for that matter, it teaches a good history.
It's about the story, right?
It's a good history lesson.
Two Fritos up.
Yes, that's right. 2 Fritos up.
Feels like reading paper, but don't take my word for it.
Are you done now?
Yes.
Thank you.
Let him finish his review.
So
I thought it was done.
I was trying to. Every time I go to finish it, you interrupt.
We'll get used to it.
Oh my god, it's ridiculous. But anyway, I recommend you go see it. It's a little bit long. I don't mean long in a bad way, but it's about a 2-hour movie, so you got to make some time for it if you are going to go see it. And the gentleman that plays Jackie Robinson does an excellent job, and Harrison Ford plays the owner of the Brooklyn Dodgers, and he does a really good job too, of course, as always.
Right. And a question about the length, because I know with some movies that are long, was it the typical kind where it felt like it didn't need to be that long, or was it perfectly...
No, because there may have been 1 or 2 spots where it seemed like it got a little meh, but for the most part, it stayed pretty traction, it kept moving.
I remember when the last Pirates came out, I think it was like 2 hours and like 45 minutes. People said it didn't need to be that long, so that's what I was asking.
Yeah, but Pirates is epic.
But yeah, the third Pirates opened up the best out of any other movie except for Transformers 1986. Like, that was the best opening ever.
And again, Transformers Files.
I'm just saying. You can't beat a planet coming out of nowhere.
By the way, we're 2 episodes away from 100.
I'm getting old.
If we make it that far.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to make it.
I think we'll make it.
I don't think we will.
Why not?
I think we'll just shut it down right now.
Yeah, there we go.
Thank
you for watching Triple Threat Talk.
It's been a pleasure for these 97 1/4 episodes.
Now we're going to do Brandon's house. Invite guests over, have great snacks, and play music.
All right, Zach Galifianakis.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways.
So, user questions this week. From the Buck and 5 to get it all kicked off and started. How do you feel about CM Punk and the problems he is having with WWE right now?
Well, I don't know if he's having any problems or anything. I think he's just taking time off. He's burnt out. Pretty much is the term. He's burnt out. He's tired. He's just taking time off. I don't think he's having problems with them internally. I think, when he was the champion for like 400 plus days, however long he was champion for, he was always on the road. He was main eventing every house show. He was main eventing every pay-per-view. He was overworked. He needed knee surgery. I know that's another case with that. So he's just taking time off. Again, I can understand your concern with this because he's been on TV constantly for the last year and a half. So for him to take time off, it looks weird. But everyone needs time off. So.
Everyone does need time off. Doc?
I wasn't aware he was having any problems. I just thought he was due a vacation, The guy's been there for a while. He deserves a vacation.
I agree. He deserves a vacation. He's been, going at it crazy for over a year, nonstop, all these pay-per-views, and it's good that he gets a rest. So, good stuff there. Also from the Buck and Five. What are some of your favorite comedies of all time?
Now, see, when I read this question, I wasn't sure if you meant movies or TV. TV.
Is that like DVD?
Yeah, DVD.
Could be. I guess you could say both. I don't know.
Well,
Just give us like 3.
I feel like we've answered the movie one before, so I'll just go TV. I like Big Bang Theory.
Who doesn't like the Big Bang Theory?
I like Seinfeld. I like Frasier. I like Friends. I like King of Queens.
I didn't know you had any friends.
Yeah, clearly I don't. Clearly. I lost my train of thought. Thanks.
There's a train in that station?
All aboard the train.
It doesn't specify whether it's TV or not, but The Big Bang Theory, and there's a production on Broadway that I caught in London on the British Broadway, and then here in Louisville when it came here. It's called Art. I've never laughed. Art. A-R-T.
Art.
I've never laughed so hard at something in my entire life. It was absolutely hysterical.
Har.
And anything Daniel Tosh also. He's he's a very funny guy.
Big Bang Theory. Obviously, it's pretty funny. The original 2.5 Men, not the new 2.5 Men with Ashton Kutcher. It just doesn't work for me. I don't know.
Work for you.
Something about it. That 70s Show. That was a good one.
There's a lot. There's too many now.
Yeah, but
you can go all day on this one. Triple Threat Comedy Show.
Exactly. And finally, from the Buck and Fun, what do you think of Injustice: Gods Among Us?
What do I think of it?
Yes.
It's good. If you don't know what that is, it's recently the fighting game that was released by NetherRealm, who made the Mortal Kombat game. It's a DC fighting game. It's very good. If you're a really huge DC fan, I recommend picking it up. Got a lot of good DC character stories. Very good. Everything's right there for you to do. A lot of good characters. DLC's coming out. They're adding more people. It's a really good game. I would definitely check it out if you're a huge fan of fighting games and DC characters.
I didn't really like it too much. I mean, I like the action. But I think Big B knows why I don't like it. Darkseid isn't in it as a playable character. And he's like the main man.
Sour grapes. No, the main man.
The main man is Lobo.
Get it right, fella.
He's the main bad guy, and Lobo ironically did come out in DLC, I was told, but
Kneel before Zod.
I know, right? So did Zod.
Oh, he's coming out.
But yeah, I do like how Killer Frost looks now.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Killer Frost looks.
Although some women besides Killer Frost look kind of mannish. Wonder Woman looks kind of manly.
Yeah, was it Wonder Woman?
Yeah, I said Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she
just said that.
Yeah.
All right.
Any thoughts?
No.
Okay.
I have nothing about it.
You have no thoughts whatsoever?
No.
I expected that.
Pot, kettle, pot.
No tea on.
Just saying. For the Prototype 400, John Cena.
John Cena?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean John Cena?
Yeah, I mean John Cena.
Oh, okay. You know who Prototype 400 is?
John Cena?
Okay.
John Cena.
Yeah, that's 6, right?
I think so.
Okay. So Prototype 400 is John Cena.
Yeah, that's true.
So John Cena has a question.
Yeah, about... Well, he doesn't have any John Cena questions.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not.
I'm gonna stop.
I know you said that if we...
Don't even mention it now.
I know if we called you that name again
There you go.
10 times, you would be done. Well, we counted that was only 9.
It was only 9.
So we won't call you that again. Promise.
Exactly. If he was to take a vacation in the Louisville area...
Vacation's all I ever wanted.
Why would you want to take a vacation in Louisville?
Yeah, really. What's to do here?
Which tourist spots should I check out?
Well, there's the Kentucky Derby Museum.
Yeah?
There's the Louisville Zoo.
Well, you would know all about that, right? Aren't you a permanent resident?
No, I don't work at the zoo. I'm not Kevin James zookeeper. No, I'm not. I'm not a zookeeper.
There's the Muhammad Ali Center.
Muhammad Ali Center.
The Louisville Slugger Museum, where they make the bat.
There's Ohio Valley Wrestling.
But yeah, but
4,400 Shepherd.
He said a tourist spot.
That's a tourist
yeah,
spot.
but it depends when he shows up to the city. Is he going to show up on the weekends? Is he going to stay a whole week?
The Science Center.
Science Center.
The Fraser Arms Museum. I'm trying to think of if there's any...
Chubby Ray's. It's a Louisville-only attraction.
The Heights Point Pizza place.
No.
I think of a local flavor to kind of get the country feel of the Louisville area. Huber's Orchard and Winery. It's just a short, quick drive off over the bridge.
Oh, 30, 40 minutes.
The Horseshoe Casino.
That's
true.
Yeah, I mean, that's Churchill Downs. I know you said the Derby Museum, but actually Churchill Downs, taking a day at the track.
Off is a race on. So you thinking about coming to Louisville?
Maybe so. Maybe if you know who comes to Louisville.
Who? Can't say it.
I can't say it though. All right, and finally for the
enjoy your stay.
And finally for the prototype 400, Big B.
Yes.
Have you ever considered becoming a Let's Player? What the heck is that?
Oh,
Big
it is
B?
a Let's Player.
What he meant. Have I ever thought about doing a Let's Play? And what a Let's Play basically is, for those of you like on YouTube that watch other things besides us, which I hope you would. There's a lot of good stuff out there, but. The biggest Let's Play out there is obviously DSP Darkside Phil. He actually gets paid to do those things. He has a partnership with Machinima on there. He gets paid to play games.
Watch your language. We're a family show.
What did I say?
Machinima? What is that? That sounds very. Anyway, go ahead. Continue. Please.
Anyway, before I was interrupted, like I always do. He's a partnership with them on YouTube. He gets paid to do these things, which is a pretty amazing accomplishment in itself. Because I think a lot of people like to do that, and he gets paid for it, so that's pretty remarkable. But what it is basically, you sit in front of you have a camera or you record your voice just playing a game, and you do your commentary and stuff like that. I have thought about it, but it's honestly very time consuming, and it costs a lot of money if you think about it. You have to, if you want to really do a successful Let's Play, you have to buy every current game that's out there, not just have one system. You probably have to have at least both Xbox and PS3. Gonna have pretty good equipment to capture the game. You have to have a lot of stuff to just do.
You work at GameStop. Couldn't you just borrow the equipment for like a week and take it back?
Probably not. No, they don't like that. The game I can probably do, but not the system. So, I have thought about it.
From Against All Odds 20.
It's more expensive than you think.
If John Cena is really injured and Punk is gone for how long? No, who knows? Who does WWE have to replace him?
Ryback.
Really?
You mean
Snorback?
Ryback.
Snorback.
Ryback.
Get out the pillow.
Big B made a good point. The reason why he screams to wake up is because everybody falls asleep when he's in the arena.
We'll get into Raw later on in the show, but he was so boring on Monday. It was ridiculous.
He's boring, period. He's not fit as a heel. Yeah. Sorry.
He needs a manager.
He needs something. He needs a handler.
He needs Zeb Coulter's mustache.
Who does WWE have to replace him?
Cena's not. I don't think Cena's really as injured as you think he is. I think Cena's going to be fine. He's had worse injuries before, and he came back to the Royal Rumble and won it, so I think he's fine. Punk, they'll be fine without Punk. Punk's just taking time. He's not going to be as good as long as you think either.
Let's see. They have Dolph Ziggler. Sheamus. Randy Orton.
Well, he's not specifying.
I know. I'm just saying. Yeah. So Chris Jericho, if he's here.
Fandango.
Yes, of course.
Wade Barrett,
Cesaro, yeah. Daniel Bryan, Cesaro.
You got plenty of people.
They got a lot of people. Cody Rhodes, could be.
Yeah, people.
So, and finally, from Against All Odds 20, another question for Big B. This is getting ridiculous. I think we file a complaint.
Let's file a complaint.
What are you going to file it to?
Go to the union.
I am the union.
What is the game you're most looking forward to this year?
This year of games seems like, compared to 2011 when there's like a game almost every single week that's really going to come out that's good. Nothing out right now is really substantial in terms of what's coming out recently in the coming weeks. But on the summer you have The Last of Us. If you have a PS3, I would definitely pick that up. That looks good. Grand Theft Auto in September. You have a new Batman in October. You have Assassin's Creed in November or October. You have I'm not liking them, but Battlefield looks really good. I might not probably play it, but it looks really good. Of course, you have the new systems coming out in the
BioShock Infinity.
BioShock's already out. You look at the new systems coming out, PS4 and the 360, the new 360 720. And then also, Nintendo's going to show something off at E3. Hopefully they do something, or they're really going to start suffering. So, but the game I'm looking forward to the most is probably Last of Us and Madden 25. Last of Us looks really good, and Madden 25 looks really, really good too.
I'm looking forward to Batman Arkham Origins.
All right. So with that, we will anoint the viewer of the week. And with his questioning about the tourism in the Louisville town, we will anoint Mr. Felix Anthony, Prototype 400, this week's Triple Threat Talk, episode 98, Viewer of the Week.
And we still hope you stay, viewer.
Well, it was only a night time.
Stay.
So with that, we'll take a quick break, come back, and then Doc will get us in the headlines right after this.
I'll be right back. Hi. Listen, I think you could do better.
Oh, no, he's a nice guy.
No, I'm talking about the yogurt. See, Dan and Oikos is so rich and thick and smooth.
So smooth.
In a national taste test, Dan and Oikos fat-free strawberry flavor beat Chobani 2-1.
Stamos?
Look, babe, I'm doing better.
She means the yogurt. Try this, babe.
Try it for yourself. Dan and Oikos Greek non-fat yogurt.
And welcome back to Triple Threat Talk. I am Gary the Dr. Locker, joined as always by Big B, Brandon Amiro, and Jimmy Postmaster Jones.
I'm always here. I'm always here.
You're always here. I know, we need you. You're our technical director. We give you a hard time on the show, but...
They do. Off the show, too.
Off the show, too, frequently.
Only because we love you.
Anyways.
Love hurts.
Postmaster, if you can please tell Mr. B what he can now do.
Big B.
Yes.
I know we said last week, wait for this one. You got something special for the headline music.
Right.
So, Big B, take it away.
You know, what have we done on the show a couple of times? We've fandangoed, right?
Right.
And you know what? I feel bad for the kids at home that don't know the words to the song.
Right?
So you know what? They can follow along.
Woo! All right.
Oh my gosh.
Yes! He has a Fandango shirt on, ladies and gentlemen, which you can pick that up on WWEshop.com.
So, we got some playoffs
That's
going
in the
on.
headphone.
I heard a thud in there.
Son of a man.
He's like Tom Sick. He's got a concussion.
So, we got some playoffs going on right now here in the NBA. I'm not sure if you've, maybe paid attention. But Memphis and OKC tied at 1 each.
Yeah.
Indy and the Knicks tied at 1-1.
How about that shellacking in the fourth quarter by the Knicks last night? They went on a 30-2 tear.
I still like the Pacers in that series, but
The fourth quarter was different from the previous 7 for
With
sure.
like 4 minutes to go in the third quarter, the Pacers had a 2-point lead.
yeah.
Chicago leads Miami 1-0. San Antonio leads Golden State 1-0.
How about that?
Some major stories going on. Nate Robinson, 27 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists. Is it me? Or is
It's you.
Thank you. Or is the X factor in the Chicago-Miami just after game 1 and actually throughout the year, because they played each other a few times this year, is the play of Nate Robinson. Miami just does not seem to have an answer for him, especially Dwayne Wade is definitely struggling covering Nate Robinson.
Yeah.
What is it, his speed? Is it his jumper? What is...
But I think it is about the Bulls that caused a matchup for them. I don't know what happened during the regular season, but I think what happened with the first game in Miami, and I think that's what happened with San Antonio too. I mean, we'll talk about that when we get to the Golden State San Antonio series, but with Chicago, they just played a tough series against the Nets. They had a game 7, so they had to win or they were done, and they had to really fight for it and play and get to win that series. The Heat, they really didn't have any problems at all playing the Bucks. The Bucks, they weren't in the same league as the Heat.
Yeah.
They had an easy time, so the Heat were kind of just chilling out, and then they play the Bulls team who was really hungry. They know they're not a favorite to win the series, let alone win a game without Derrick Rose. And they have this team that's banged up. People are injured. People are throwing up. People are not playing well at all. And they go into Miami. Miami is one of the better teams at home this season, and they go in and win by 7 points. So I think Miami will just pretty much sleep at the wheel. I think they come back and win the series probably in 5 games. I would say they maybe another game Chicago gets. Maybe.
Well, the last time they lost the first game, they won 4 in a row.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But I think it was just a case of Miami was just lackadaisical. They had in 2 weeks in the first round. Chicago really had to battle. But I agree with you. I think Nate Robinson is the X factor for this team. Joakim Noah's playing really great too. I liked his play. But Nate Robinson's been really playing really well in the playoffs. He's probably the second best player in this playoffs behind Steph Curry.
The Bulls definitely have showed a lot of heart, a lot of tenacity. Their short man with Dang out and Derrick Rose still out, and Derek Heinrich is out.
There's a Twitter picture that said Derrick Rose was warming up. So if he's playing, because it was tonight, so I don't know if he was playing or not.
So I mean, a lot of people were out, and to come through with basically your B squad and to beat the best team in the NBA,
it's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
I think it is very good, and I think Nate Robinson. I just don't think Dwayne Wade has the speed to keep up with him, and And then you see Robinson going through. He's weaving through some pretty tall guys.
Yeah, he's fast. He's really got speed.
He's bobbing and a weaving.
Steph Curry, on the other side of things, definitely doing pretty good for Golden State. 44 points, 4 rebounds, 11 assists, 2 steals. I don't see how San Antonio got the lead up on there, but Steph Curry. There is here's some throughout the season. I've talked about, people are like, how can you say stuff like Kobe Bryant? He's more valuable to Lakers when he scores 20 to 30 points other than when he scores 40 to 50 points, because it's a diminishing return. Colin talked about it this morning. There is a return back on diminishing point value, meaning you cannot take all the shots because you're giving up production on people. Because if you take 60 shots a game, you're probably going to miss half of those at least half of those. If you kick out one to another player, that's going to factor into their shooting percentage, and they can make it. So you can only be as effective. It's like an asymptote approaching an axis. It never touches it. There is a point on any particular line where you stop and then you start lowering, and that's the diminishing value of point return. And I think it's a very good point. Steph Curry seems to be getting it done for himself and taking over games for sure, but this is a prime example of 44 points from one player not being what they need to take home the W.
Yeah, see, I'm going to completely disagree with that statement, because I watched the entire Nuggets series and I watched the entire Spurs series, and Steph Curry, bottom line, is the best shooter in the NBA right now. Period. He's the best shooter, and I think he was 18 of 35 in that game against the Spurs, so he didn't take as many shots as that sounds. 44 points for him, but the dude is just straight up ridiculous. I mean, he can take any shot he wants. There was a shot he had where he lost the hand on the ball, just picked up and shot it in. It's ridiculous how good he is, how talented he is. But this seemed like the same thing that happened with them against Denver in the final game where they were at home trying to win the series. They were up big against Denver. Denver came roaring back, but Denver didn't have enough to ultimately win the game, and then Golden State was able to win the series. They can't do that kind of thing against the San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio is a much better team than Denver. They're the second best team in the West, so they're going to have to really, because they had a 16-point lead, Golden State, going into the fourth quarter out with like 4 minutes left, and they let it happen. They let San Antonio fight their way back, went in double overtime with a 3-pointer by Manu Ginobili with 1.2 seconds left, which was utterly ridiculous. But I have no problem with Steph Curry scoring 44 points for his team. And the thing is, even though you were making the argument about he takes too many shots, you watch Steph Curry, he distributes the ball, and eventually the people start to double cover him. He's able to just throw the pass away and then was able to catch it and make a point. So I think Steph Curry is definitely the best player in these playoffs, and he's going to really help this team. I think could possibly upset the Spurs in this series. I really do. I think they need to make some adjustments in that. I'm surprised they played as well as they did against San Antonio, because San Antonio was very good at home. I like Golden State this year. They're playing really great basketball. Not just Steph Curry, but Bogut's playing really great. Harrison Barnes is playing really well. Klay Thompson. It's a whole team effort for that team, and they look really, really strong.
I know the Spurs won the first game, but to me personally, I think the series is actually even.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, I know it's obvious it's 1-0 Spurs, but when you take an older team like the Spurs, they're very old.
Yeah.
To double overtime.
And Tim Duncan was like hurt in that game. He was having problems.
Right.
Something's wrong with himself.
You took him to double overtime, and yes, the Spurs did win, but that's going to take a toll on the Spurs a lot more than it's going to take a toll on the Warriors. Yeah. And I think the Warriors are going to capitalize. I agree with him. I think the Warriors could very easily upset the Spurs in this series.
And you know what? What's going on with Oklahoma City? They might get to the finals, that team out there, because Oklahoma City, they're not going to beat the Grizzlies. They're not. Without Westbrook, they're not.
Yeah, so it's good stuff, definitely.
See, the last 3 wins for Golden State have come when Steph Curry has been below 40 points. So that's right there shows you that my statement is not incorrect.
Well, I don't think it matters how many points he scores. It's their defense.
If the defense can keep up, that's great. But also, Steph Curry has to continue to create shots for other players.
He does.
And he does that, but it cannot be the Steph Curry show, which is all I'm simply trying to say.
If he can shoot and make it, what's the difference?
When I say 44 points, 4 rebounds, 11 assists, 2 steals. So he's dishing out the ball, 11 assists to give 11 shots up to other players, which is pretty good for that particular example on the 44 points. what I'm saying is his shot percentage that night was 38%.
He was 18 of 35.
18 to 35. So
That's
That's no different than Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony does the same
learned
thing.
to pass the ball last night, though.
Last night he did.
And look what happened. Look what happened. When you have a player like Melo, it's usually the Melo show.
But it didn't happen until the end of the fourth quarter.
It still happened, though.
Right.
I think he can create opportunities for other players. The Knicks were that much better.
I think with someone as talented as Steph Curry, he doesn't have to worry about that because he can make any shot he takes.
I'm just telling you, there is a law of diminishing points value, and you see it with Melo, you see it with Kobe, you see it with LeBron, you see it with various other players.
But when you're the star of the team for that particular team,
LeBron,
you're going to take
Kobe.
that many spots. You're going to take that many shots. You're going to do it. It's
so
not a matter.
You honestly, all right. Let me give you this. Wilt Chamberlain, for example, 50, 60 points a game in his prime. They were still losing. The Lakers still were losing. They did not start winning consistently until his last season when he was averaging 25 points a game. If I'm wrong, how is that possible? Kobe, the same exact thing. Kobe Bryant, the same exact thing. When he's averaging 50, 60 points, they were losing. Now that he's averaging 25, or the last couple of years since he's been averaging 25, 30 points,
they're losing.
They're winning.
They're not
the last couple, not this year. Not this year. I'm not talking about this year. This year, everybody knows it's the coach. It's D'Antoni not being able to mold those personalities. Everybody knows that. So if I'm wrong, and if there is no law of diminishing value on point return, how is that possible for that to happen?
Well, there's been games this year where Kurtz were like 60 points, 50 points, and the team wins.
Okay, that's one or two games.
There's been games this season, like 4 or 5 games, he scored over 40 points in the team.
Over the course of the season.
If you break it down, when a superstar for any particular team, whether it be Kevin Durant, whether it be Roy Hibbert, whether it would be LeBron James, whether it be Carmelo Anthony, more often than not, they lead the team in scoring and they win. So
I'm telling you, I watched the game with them against the Nuggets. They did the same exact thing. They got a little lackadaisical, and that's why San Antonio was able to come back. Because San Antonio's a better team than the Nuggets. It's not because Steph Curry 44 points didn't distribute the ball. San Antonio just is a better team. They were able to come back. I don't think 44 points is anything that the reason they lost. Their defense just let them down like they did against Denver.
And look at the Miami Heat. They only lost like 20 games all year so far, something like that.
Yeah.
LeBron James was the leading scorer in almost all those wins.
32 points a game.
Averaged 32 points a game. And guess what? They won. So that proves it.
It's defense.
It's defense is a lot of A. And B, to an extent, your point is right. To an extent, his point is right. You're not both wrong here. You're not both right. It's an even keel here. I can see where the point of you saying if such and such takes too many shots and he scores 50 points a game, well, more often than not, this team loses. Or if you say, well, if he shoots this, well, they still win. You're both right. It's not a matter of both being right, both being wrong. Both cases, it works out. It just sometimes it can be a little more heavy on one side than it can the other.
I just don't see it when it comes like that. I mean, I know he's got a point because you're always going to be able to find example 1, 2, or 3 out of a pool of about 1,000 games. You're always going to find that.
I'm naming off just the superstars. What I'm saying, because you
can't go into like people like
but that's
Jason
what Steph
Collins and Francisco Garcia and all that. Right?
No, but I'm just saying from the standpoint of if you break it down, who's the best player on which team, and look at their average stats for the year, and look at their win total, you can see where his point makes sense, and also there's times where you can see where your point makes sense. There's no wrong answer here. Both points are definitely valid in this situation.
So we got about a minute left.
Yeah.
So do you want to take an early break, or all right?
We'll take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll get more into headlines right after this.
I've been waiting for the dryer for forever. That's it. I'm just gonna unload their clothes. I don't care if they get wrinkled.
What are you doing?
And now I look like a huge perv.
Sweating on the inside? Handle it on the outside with Speed Stick Power.
I was just gonna fold your clothes for you so they wouldn't get wrinkled.
That's so sweet of you.
I'd fold your panties any day.
What?
What?
Speed Stick. Don't sweat it. Handle it. Tweet your handle it moment now.
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, along with my esteemed co-host, the esteemed one, Gary the Dr. Lockard, and the esteemed one over here, Mr. Big V, Brandon DeMuro. During the break, I had to break up a fist fight between these two, but it's all better now.
Fist fight.
Sounds like he wants to commit suicide yet, fella.
Hardy har har.
Har, har, har. So, Big B apparently has some tennis talk. And apparently...
This is a shock.
Apparently...
This is not a shock. This is a shock.
Apparently, PostMaster has a little bit of tennis talk.
Alright.
So, first, it's a seldom topic. The CEO of the ATP, Brad Jewett, actually passed away. He was a former tour player. He led the ATP as the executive chairman and helped increase the prize money at Grand Slam tournaments. He actually died this past Friday. He was 54 years old. He actually had Lou Gehrig's disease. Obviously, thoughts and prayers go out to the family. He was a very big part of the ATP. Really, like I said, he helped with the prize money. Drew was a top 40 singles player, top 20 doubles player for. He retired in 1990. He was hired in 2006 to lead operations in the Middle East, Asian, and Pacific regions. He led the ATP since January of 2012, and I think I saw last week was a very nice gesture. They had all the players come out on the court at the Madrid Open. Madrid Open. And they are at all the net paying their respects and doing the moment which I thought was really a nice gesture. So I have definitely thoughts and prayers out to the Jewett family at this tough time. So now we're moving on to the Madrid Open that's going on right now. First round, the upset we had, this one was Juan Monaco knocked out Janko Tipsarevic 7-6, 6-3. Then we get into the second round, and this tournament's really big because all the top four are there. Nadal, Djokovic, Federer, and Murray are all there. Federer moved through pretty easily. Federer looked really good in the clay against Stepanek, won 6-3, 6-3. Murray had a little bit of slip, but he did end up winning. He won 7-6, 7-6. He actually won the first set tiebreak, 13-11. So that's
a long game.
That's a big one. And then he won the second set tiebreak, 7-3. It's pretty easy. Nadal won pretty easily. He's through. But the one thing that I was surprised to see, Grigor Dimitrov, everyone calls him Baby Fed because he has the same looks as Federer. He plays the same way, kind of like
Baby Fed.
That's what they call him, though. I didn't make the nickname. I didn't make the nickname.
K-Fade?
I didn't make the nickname, but that's because the way he moves, the kind of the same style. He actually knocks out Djokovic 7-6, 6-7, 6-3. So Djokovic exits early. He's actually heading to Rome in the next tournament. So the French Open's coming up very soon. Looks like Djokovic needs to work on something, so Dimitrov had his number there. In the women's side, they're playing as well. Some women's third-round matchups. Serena Williams is going to play Maria Karolinko. Makarova, and we'll get to, I guess I'll skip this one because you have that on your phone next, so I'll skip that one. Laura Robson actually played Ana Ivanovic because she upset Igi Radwanska, but then Ivanovic knocks out Robson and is going to play Kerber next. Hanchikova is going to play Kanepi after Hanchikova knocked out Petra Kvitova, and Sharapova is going to play Lisicki, and they've played a bunch of times as well. So now we get to we're kind of the same page here.
I don't know which sport has harder names to pronounce, hockey or tennis.
It's close.
I can't figure it out.
Baseball is the most interesting name.
Yeah, baseball does.
And we all know the best name of sports is in hockey.
Oh, what's that?
Vincent Lecavalier.
Yeah, of course. Vincent Lecavalier. So, big name.
Anyway, I'll lead into it. So, Makarova is going to face Bartoli, and you're probably saying, why are you mentioning that? Well, Makarova knocked out Azarenka. Azarenka was the runner-up in the last two tournaments here. She was the runner-up. She was actually docked a point for smashing her racket, so now we turn to PostMaster with tennis news. What?
So apparently Victoria Azarenka pulled a John McEnroe at this event. She was arguing and yelling at the chair umpire, and she lost her temper, broke her racket, was docked a point, and following her loss to Ekaterina Makarova of Russia, she lost 1-6, 6-2, 6-3 in the second round, ending Azarenka's 18-match winning streak to start the season. So she was on an 18-match win streak before this, foul up here, and it looks like her temper got the best of her here.
It seems like she has some kind of mental issues, Azarenka. Not just this with the smashing her, but it seems like a lot of the times she would always, default in matches because, like in Australia, it was too hot. And I remember there was an injury timeout thing where she was playing Sloane Stephens and she had injury timeout and then she came back. There was a lot of controversy about that. Alex Johnson talked about that on the show when it occurred. So there's some kind of mental thing that she has issues with on the court. She's a very talented player. There's no doubt she's one of the best in the world on the women's side. But, tennis is also a mental game. And it seems like at times the mental part gets the best of her. And like with this with smashing the racket or, again, taking the injury timeout when it wasn't warranted. And again, this is why I hear all the time that people inside the locker rooms in tennis, they don't really respect her as much because of the things she does. And I don't disagree with that because, you want to be liked as a player, and I'm sure the fans like her, but more of the stuff comes out where she smashes rackets and does all these things, it doesn't really help your popularity. So
I agree.
Take us through some madness this weekend at Talladega.
All right, before we get into the madness at Talladega, some breaking news regarding the Joe Gibbs penalties. You remember a couple weeks ago I announced the $200,000 fines and all the big fines and penalties. Well, the NASCAR Appeals Board, which is consisted of Mark Arute from the Stafford Motor Speedway, Dennis McClin of Dover Raceway, and Jack Housby, a former team owner, ruled in favor of Joe Gibbs to an extent. The following changes to the penalties were made. Matt Kenseth's points penalty was reduced from 50 to 12, so that is a big difference, 38-point difference, catapulting him all the way from 11th to 4th in the standings. So he jumped back to 4th in the standings with that. Joe Gibbs' owner penalty points was reduced from 50 to 12 as well. His suspension was eliminated. I remember I told you guys that the number 20 owner's license would be revoked for the next 6 weeks, and he couldn't earn any owner's points. But that has also been lifted. The Toyota penalty was increased, the manufacturer penalty, from 5 to 7, because it was more on the lines of TRD's fault than it was Joe Gibbs' fault, because the engine was actually put together at Toyota Racing Development. So Joe Gibbs could have got this engine. Michael Waltrip Racing, who also races Toyotas, could have got this engine. Any number of the Toyota teams could have received this engine. So I can see where they ruled in favor of Gibbs on that part.
Now this is for the rod, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
all right. I just want to make sure, because I've got something. When you're getting done with that, I got something I want to throw out.
All right. Kansas win at Kansas will now count for the chase, whereas before I told you all it would not count as a bonus point. He will get the bonus points for that. And the crew chief's suspension was reduced from 6 races to 1. However, that nice hefty $200,000 fine still remains intact.
And before we get into Talladega, I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
Could it be that the board realizes that NASCAR's penalty and NASCAR's tolerance for this was too much because of something less than the size of a penny?
Had nothing. I don't think it had anything to do with the size of the.
Yeah, the size of the rod is very, very small.
Right. I realize that. I think what NASCAR was looking at was, like I said, any number of the Toyota teams could have received this engine, and since it was a part that was already put together at TRD and not at Joe Gibbs Racing, although they could have checked it, and they should have checked it at Joe Gibbs Racing. They did not, so they didn't find that the illegal part or the faulty part inside the motor.
I wouldn't even say it's illegal, because it is the size of a penny.
I understand,
it's ridiculously small.
NASCAR for years. I mean, even before this car. I mean, way back. When it comes to the engine, you don't mess with the word I'm looking for.
You don't mess with the
integrity of the engine. You're supposed to say how it's supposed to be. So I think, to answer your question, I think it was because they were looking at it from a distribution standpoint of any number of the Toyota teams could have received this engine. So, and exactly the madness from Talladega, we had everything. We had a 3.5 hour rain delay, which is...
It's always fun.
Yeah, it's always fun, right?
Stare and look at nothing.
Time filler for 3.5 hours.
When people
get out there and have somebody
want to watch The Simpsons and American Dad were delayed.
They were delayed. So we had to watch Carl Edwards lead for 3.5 hours.
Question here.
Yes.
I turned it on because I was trying to find something to watch at that time, and NASCAR was still on. Why?
Why was it still on?
I know why it was still on, because of the rain delay.
Right.
This was baffling because I turned it on. Can you explain to me why during the rain delay they showed the Daytona 500?
Oh, they were showing different clips.
Okay. Because I was
at one point they showed the top 10 most fantastic finishes in NASCAR.
Just something to show.
Just something to show, other than like them sitting there talking for the rain,
like, why is it just like the Daytona 500 in February? Why is
there's only so much in Darrell Walter people can stand. So you got to kind of find something else to keep.
The Darrell Waltrip comedy hour.
Exactly. So
which would be anything but.
So after a 3.5 hour rain delay and near darkness, the race was complete thanks to the Air Titan. This thing is a beast. It is the new track drying system when it rains. It is amazing. The way, like, I've never seen this before. If you get a chance, check it out. Check this thing at work. Like, it works as a vacuum system, and it sucks up the water off the track. In this huge machine, the way I was like, it's kind of fascinating just to watch that, and people are, just like,
oh, look at that.
you know.
There's your show for 3 hours, man.
So we come down to a green-white checker. We had several big pile-ups, taking out some big-name stars early. We come down to a green-white checker on the restart. Carl Edwards was in the lead. He was doing his best Dale Earnhardt Sr. impression by blocking everybody that he could. Going down the backstretch on the final lap, David Reagan.
Who?
David Reagan.
Is he related to Ronald?
No.
Okay.
Was shoved to the lead by David Gilliland, and David Reagan holds on to win. Front Row Motorsports, a C-level NASCAR team, a team that would probably be like the New Orleans or the Charlotte Bobcats.
Ugh.
They're like the Charlotte Bobcats of NASCAR, and they finished 1-2 at Talladega. That's what's great about Talladega, the unpredictability of you don't know who's going to win. Any team has a chance. Bob Jenkins, the owner of Front Row Motorsports, they'll probably be partying all the way till Darlington this week, and they'll probably still be hungover. I can imagine the party was huge at Front Row Motorsports. I think it's great. I love when the small-time guy gets a golden opportunity like this, and the fact that they were able to pull this off was outstanding. So they finished 1-2. Carl Edwards did hang on for third. Jimmy Johnson is still your points leader. The largest points lead to this date in the chase history as of right now, Jimmy Johnson has, although that doesn't mean nothing because the points reset when the chase starts.
Sure.
Carl Edwards is second in the points. So they move on to Darlington, the Lady in Black, which is appropriate because it's Mother's Day this Sunday, and they'll race on Saturday night underneath the lights. No rain needed. Yeah. Definitely.
I want you to bring up a piece of footage here.
Of course you do.
Toronto Blue Jays pitcher at Tampa Bay last night. This happened. Check this out. Ouch. That is a scary moment. Toronto Blue Jays pitcher J.A. Happ recovering after that. The line square on the head.
He's all right now. He's recovering fine.
Stable condition now.
He's actually going to be released out of the hospital either later.
He's already released out of the hospital. He's already released out of the hospital. He's actually going to put on the 15-day deal as opposed to the 7-day concussion list, so that's good.
Answer me this. I mean, I realize the object of the game obviously is to win.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. The ball.
And to score runs.
Right. Baseball 101.
But the guys on the base pass were still scoring. It was like nothing was going on. It was weird to me. It's like a guy's laying there bleeding out from the head, and like they're scoring and running around the base pass like nothing's scored. Two runs got scored during this.
I think when that happens, play needs to stop.
I agree. I think when something like this happens, play needs to stop.
This brought up a debate today about do pitchers need more protection.
I think so, but there's not really much you can do.
Not really.
But maybe to an extent of you saying play could stop. Maybe not play stop, but maybe
everyone just advances one base.
Or like the ground rule, double rule. Yeah. The farthest he can go is second.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because it's clearly obvious he's not getting up. No.
I'm sure someone can make the argument that why can another player get the ball?
And they called for a stretcher immediately, so you knew it was bad.
Right.
I mean, it was definitely a horrific scene.
Those two runs should have definitely. They do need to look into stuff like that because this only happens once or twice a year.
Yeah, but
that's why
more often than it should.
Maybe they should wear helmets on the back.
Well, see, but helmets fall off.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Helmets fall off, especially when you're making that motion.
Or maybe they should wear some type of full helmet. I don't know.
I mean, for pitchers, they might have to look at something like that because it happens. I mean, you throw a 99-mile fastball, someone hits it, it comes right at your face. It's going to come back at least that much faster.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, more playoffs, a little bit of Lions news, and we're going to get into some Derby right after this. Triple Threat Talk.
Get in. Coca-Cola Racing Family Road Trip. 99 bottles of Coke on the wall. 99 bottles of Coke.
You got a left, then another left, and make a left after that one.
Yeah!
Whoa, taught her everything she knows. Are we there yet?
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Vickers, along with my esteemed co-host, the esteemed one, Big B, Brandon DeMiro. The esteemed one, the extra esteemed one, Gary the Dr. Locker. What? Wait a minute.
How dare you? You watch your tone.
That's right.
Watch my tone. I didn't say anything.
All right, so we got another set of playoffs to talk about. NHL playoffs.
Yes.
Jim Moore be having a field day.
Chicago leads Minnesota 2-1. San Jose leads Vancouver 3-0. Ottawa leads Montreal 3-1, and the New York and Pittsburgh are tied at 1 each.
Doc, where's our Detroit update?
You got two teams facing elimination. Yeah, funny thing, I swear, I went to ESPN.com last night. This is where I get all my stats, where I get a lot of my stats. You know how at the top of the page they've got the teams?
Yes.
I kid you not. On the website last night, because I double checked and triple checked, they did not have the Red Wings series on the top of the screen.
Why?
I don't know. So I could not find an update on the Red Wings series.
Interesting.
I really, honestly, I could
That's
not.
fine with me because in my eyes,
I think last time I checked, I think it's 2-1 Anaheim. I think it's what it is.
I think that sounds about right.
That's what it is.
That's what they were talking about a little bit this morning, but I could not find it. That's where I'm glad you brought it because that's where I was going with this.
Because
I could not find it.
Even if the game's not on, they still have the update for the
because the NBA is the same way, but the NBA had all the games.
Right.
It was funny. I told you the coach for the Senators he looks like Zeb Coulter.
Yes, he does. He does. If you get a chance, look him up.
Yeah,
it's a funny picture.
So, have you ever been pulled over like once a day? Have you ever been pulled over?
Pulled over ever?
Yeah.
Yeah, once.
Okay.
Once.
Yes, I've been pulled over.
A friend of mine has actually been pulled over twice in one day.
That's hard to do.
It's about the same cop.
What? Oh, come on.
The same cop.
Come on.
Give me a break here.
About the same cop.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. It was on Old St. Matthews, going down from Payne Street and Baxter Avenue.
Yes.
He went straight down up by the right. For the people out of town, this is going to make no sense. But up by the Ratterman Funeral Home, that stretch of road right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
He got pulled over twice, going like 30 miles over.
What was the time differential?
I think 2-3 hours. 2 or 3 hours. He was pulled over twice.
And did he get a ticket both times?
Yes. And it was his birthday.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you.
So why do we bring this up?
I don't know. Why are we?
Well,
we're watching cops.
You know, you're getting pulled over twice in one night. How about somebody getting arrested twice in one day?
Sounds like the Bengals.
Well, I appreciate the humor in that.
It sounds like a good. If we didn't already have an idiot of the week, he sounds like a good candidate.
Lions wide receiver Titus Young.
No, I remember reading about this as well. He's not a receiver anymore. No one's picked him up.
No one's picked him up. But former Lions wide receiver Titus Young arrested twice in a 15-hour span Sunday. He was booked for suspicion of driving under the influence, which I had been pulled over for, and I sneezed. That's what happened there. So anybody can be pulled over for suspicion of driving under the influence. I sneezed and crossed the line.
Whoa.
Pretty much. But he was issued a citation and released, and then later jumped a tow lot.
Wait a minute. He jumped the tow lot?
Jumped the tow lot.
To steal his car. That was his.
That was stealing to look for his black Mustang.
His own car.
His own car, and arrested for burglary for doing such. And now I know how you're thinking. How can he be arrested for burglary?
Because what that guy did was even worse.
How can he be arrested for burglary trying to find his own car? Well, that's owned by the state, and he was trespassing, and they put him up with burglary.
This doesn't help his cause of getting back on an NFL team.
Not help his
released by the Lions because of incidents, and also he claimed he was better than Calvin Johnson. Okay, and then
clearly,
yeah. And then he went to the Rams, and Jeff Fisher has a history of trying to help troubled people and get them back on the thing, and he didn't work out either. So it doesn't look like Titus Young's going to be playing football anytime soon.
Wowzer.
Yeah. And so we had another, decent-sized event here.
Was there bowling?
No, it wasn't bowling.
Pole vaulting.
No. Well, almost. Might have been some of that in the
curling.
Curling. There's always curling. I mean, look at that. Come on.
Jesus.
There's this little race that happened last week.
The Kentucky
Lexington.
Might have been called. You may have heard of it. It's
the
called
Stephen Foster Handicap.
That's next week, fellas.
Oh.
Camptown Race.
Camptown Racetrack, 5 minutes long.
Doo-dah.
I'm getting some looks. Hey, they fandango on the show every week. I can't sing Camptown Racetrack. Embrace it. Lock in 5. Prototype I need you. Come on.
Everyone's fendangling. Even right now.
So the Kentucky Derby happened this past week.
Oh yeah, that.
We had the winner Orb. All right, which I'd said if it's sloppy, I like Orb.
But your pick up all that was Arizona.
My pick.
And our pick, where the heck did that finish? 17th Golden Sense? Come on.
There's a reason for that.
So here's the thing, and as the week got on, I started looking at the pole position. After the pole positions were drawn, which we did not know them on public access.
Right, we did not.
This is how it shook out for me. Revolutionary was very close to the inside rail, very close to where Calvin Burrell likes to be.
He did come in third. So.
Now, Saturday, when Black Onyx scratched the horse out of the 1 position, that cleared up even more space. Mm-hmm. So then you had the other two favorites. You had the other two favorites, Verrazano and Orb, next to that auxiliary gate, and that freed up a little bit more space for them. So for me personally, Verrazano does not like the slop.
Nope.
Revolutionary and Orb have run in both. So when this order of finish happened, the only thing surprising about it was Golden Soul finishing second. Orb does take home the win. And I really, really thought from the get-go, especially after Saturday's scratch with Black Onyx, that this Derby was going to be a fast pace, which they were on record-setting pace the first half a mile.
Palace Malice was like out there on a rail. I was like, "What are you doing?"
At the end, it was insane. It was still an insane pace. You have to consider. Yeah, he was going to burn out, but in the slop, 22 seconds on the first quarter.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yep.
Even in the slop, can you imagine if there was no rain, what that would have been?
I was surprised that Palace Malice took such a commanding lead and such a fast fraction, because the way they were talking and everybody was talking, the way the race looked, it didn't look like there was a particular horse that was out to just set a fast pace like that.
There's been before where there's a horse that's out there.
Yeah, the horse. Palace Malice got a clean break, but like I said, it was the slop. That clean break really helped his speed, because when he got out, all the horses veered in toward the rail. He kept going straight.
Right.
I mean, there was just he was just going to keep on going.
Right.
And that's pretty much what happened there. So as this race progressed, to me, the most interesting thing was that Orb was about the middle of the pack, and in the slop comes charging up. It was a very fast-paced Derby, and after the break, after Black Onyx scratch, and that is key. One horse scratching is generally not a big deal, but when you have the horse out of the 1 gate scratch, when you have someone like Calvin Burrell in the 3-hole, that's going to make a difference in the race, and I think we saw that with Revolutionary coming in third.
Surprised they didn't put that also eligible in with him scratching.
With Fear the Kitten, They should have. They really should have.
I don't know why they didn't.
I don't know why they didn't, but they really should have. It might have been his chance. They do have the option to decline. Mm-hmm. So, and I think that might have been what happened.
Oh, okay.
What are your all's thoughts? Those were just my initial reactions on the race. What are some of your thoughts?
Well, I found out that Rick Pitino can't win everything. Golden Sense was in the front of the pack for a little while. Then
he was running about third.
He was, I think, second was his best point in the race, and then the race ended. And I was like, where'd he go? And then they showed the standing. He was 17th.
They talked to Kevin Krieger about it. The reason why they didn't, he finished 17th, is when he come around, he realized there was nothing left. He basically just eased him and let him gallop home. He didn't want to, force the issue. He knew he didn't have a shot. He said he didn't, want to take a chance on damaging the horse. There wasn't no sense in, doing anything in that matter. And a quick thing on Fear of the Kitten. I know we were just discussing it. Our stats expert, the lovely Miss Stephanie, just let me know that they actually had until 9 a.m. Friday to enter. So obviously that horse, maybe he didn't like the Fear of the Kitten owner, because he scratched after 9 a.m. on Friday, so there was no possible way that Fear of the Kitten could get in the Derby. So a little black helicopter action there, buddy. Wow. So that does kind of raise some questions. Like, if you're going to scratch him, why not let this horse have a chance? So obviously there could be more to that than what we know, because if he had until 9 a.m. to enter, that seems a little odd to me. On Friday.
Here's the thing also that was funny, too, because going up through the week, they had the 3 also eligibles, and, of course, the 2 late scratches during the week, and the 2 horses replacing them. they had said that there would never be, now with the also eligible system, there would never be a field less than 20. And everybody said that this week.
Yeah,
and it was very
19.
funny. There was 19, so clearly we did have a race where there was not 20.
A little weird.
A little weird, so it was very, very strange.
A little bit.
So that's all I've got for headlines.
That's all I got for headlines.
That's all I
You got
got for
any
headlines. So
that's
pretty much it.
All right, let's go to, before we go to break here, we got about 4 minutes before break. So Doc, why don't you tell us a little bit about what happened at OVW? Thanks to our good friend Brian Cannon at ovmania.blogspot.com.
Just some quick notes about what happened. Jessie Bell and fought Trina. Trina won. No surprise there. VIP and Jamin. Jamin wins by DQ, and then Doug Williams comes out, continues that feud that he and Jamin have going on, and just pretty much beats Jamin senseless. It was pretty graphic even for OVW. Jesse versus Rockstar Spud. Spud retains his OVW TV championship. And then the Coalition take on the Mobile Homers and Rudy Switchblade, who win by DQ. No surprise there. It seems to be the ebb and flow of the Coalition lately. Just tried to beat, I think it's more like aces and eights, but yes, I appreciate that. The Coalition definitely keeping up their rampage and destruction. So we do want to thank, as PostMaster said, OVW and Brian Cannon for keeping us in the loop with OVW Blogspot, ovmania.com.
He's got some good stuff, and I think he's actually got a. Also, I want to give a quick mention to the package Chris Sharp. He has a new show out, podcast, a weekly show out that he interviews a different person from OVW. He has him on the show every week.
I think Triple Threat Talk's coming up on that show. I think. I'm trying to work something out with him.
All right, so check that out as well. The package Chris Sharp. Look him up on Twitter and on Facebook, and check out his podcast at OV Wrestling for sure. So moving on to a little WWE coverage. Anything exciting happened on SmackDown last week of note that we can take out?
No, I don't remember.
Yeah,
SmackDown's kind of.
And anymore, it seems like SmackDown, because everybody's on Raw. Yeah. It seems like SmackDown is kind of like they replay a lot of Raw, and they do a little bit, but they don't really do a whole lot because they have 3 hours on Raw, and pretty much everybody's on Raw, so they don't really. They don't have to do a whole lot for SmackDown.
Usually I find Against All Odds to be, our viewer Against All Odds, to be very, very critical sometimes, just like you guys. But I think he's absolutely right. This week's Raw was absolutely forgettable. Nothing really happened. It was very... you had the search for Triple H, which was very, very stupid.
I like the damage that Brock Lesnar did.
Yeah, but the whole thing, it didn't need to be done, is what I'm saying. It was very...
They got to build a feud.
They got to build a feud, but there are other ways to do it other than faking a corporate stand-in. Come on.
Sheamus is going to have some marks for a while.
Yes. Ouch.
Yeah.
That hurts.
That's going to sting. If you think wrestling is fake, watch that and you're going to change it.
And look at the pictures all over the internet of Sheamus' back. That is wowza.
Yeah, he's going to mark it for a while.
It is going to hurt.
Because he's so white.
We did have some good stuff on the show.
Damien Sandow debuted a new theme song for Randy Orton, which I thought was hilarious.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was.
That was. Fandango didn't have a match.
He walked out.
He didn't want to deal with the
R-Truth's not worth his time.
R-Truth is not worth his time.
But next week he's facing Chris Jericho in a dance-off.
Dance-off. But I can't believe
Raw's turning into.
I can't believe this though. Sweet Tea and Brodus Clay and Chris Jericho are going to judge Fandango's match.
Who are they to judge him?
What's up with that?
I don't know.
John Cena and Ryback. That feud is just, I don't like it.
Because Ryback, in a real world, Ryback would absolutely destroy John Cena.
So that's about it for wrestling.
Before I fall asleep, we better go to break.
So let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll have our wild card and our idiot of the week and wrap up
and some other good stuff brought to you by PostMaster.
Right after this.
Hey, Nick Dinsmore here. Do you have the dream of becoming a pro wrestler? Well, I did, and I came to Ohio Valley Wrestling. Join the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class today. I'm a former WWE superstar, I'm a former 9-time Ohio Valley Wrestling heavyweight champion, and I can train you to be the best today. For all the information regarding the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class, go to ovwrestling.com and click on school. Join the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class today. ovwrestling.com, click on school.
And welcome back here as we wrap up things here on the final segment of Triple
An
Threat
air
Talk.
quality alert here in the Triple Threat Talk studios.
No need to go there. No need to go there.
So this week we got wild card segment. I know I got a pretty big one to share with everybody.
Yes.
You guys have a wild card?
I actually don't have a wild card this week.
I didn't have a wild card at first, but I'll throw a quick one out just because of who I am.
You would. That's typical. Typical.
Actually, I do. Before you do,
Typical of you two.
Go ahead.
Iron Man 3 Extremis. If you haven't seen it by now, go see it. That's pretty much it. A very good movie. Very funny. And you know what keeps going through my head? Where's my sandwich?
I don't know. Go get it. Anyway, I guess I'm gonna do another cheap plug today. I was there's
That's what Cody Rhodes is doing. Cheap plug.
Never ends.
Continue, sir.
Anyway, there's a player on the Seattle Seahawks, Michael Robinson, who does this cool thing on YouTube. It's called the Real Rob Report. He kind of takes you in the locker room with the Seahawks players, interviews not just Seahawks players, but athletes of every sport, NBA, MLB, any sport that's pretty much out there. And he gets a pretty interesting perspective because he is a fellow athlete, so he gets kind of inside access that most people can't get. So it's pretty cool, especially for me, for being a Seahawks fan, gets to go in the locker room, kind of get the personalities of the actual players to see what they kind of like without people watching, people paying them what to say. So it was pretty interesting. I would definitely check it out if you're a huge Seahawks fan, like my friend on Facebook, Jason. Definitely check that out.
All right, so this past Friday night on Derby Eve, myself, Postmaster Jones, and my cinematographer, Miss Stephanie, were in attendance at the Unbridled Eve Gala brought to you by Blessings in a Backpack. All proceeds and benefits were to benefit Blessings in a Backpack.
So what is that, Charlie?
Blessings in a Backpack, it's like for kids who are, they're for and the kids, like when they come home from school and they don't have food, or when school is out, like in the summertime, kids, they get full meals at school, but they don't have anything to eat once they get home, right. Or when school's not in session. So that's what Blessings in a Backpack is for. It's to help feed needy kids. And so a lot of stars turn out for this event, and it's for the Derby. It's brought on by the York sisters. So that's that was the biggest. It was brought to you by Southern Wine and Spirits, Humana Vitality. So they brought it on, but I caught up with a couple people at the show. A couple people I caught up with. Mr. Lance Bass, you may know him from the boy band NSYNC.
No, I would know.
But he apparently he's doing some other stuff, as you'll hear. World Series of Poker Pro and Poker Professor, Mr. Phil Hellmuth. An actor, Mr. William Nichter. He was in The Longest Yard, Perfect Storm, Contact, The Dark Knight. You may recognize that.
Maybe.
Could be. Also, I caught up with head coach Charlie Strong of the University of Louisville Cardinal football team. Definitely good stuff there. And of course, I think my biggest interview, and probably the show's biggest interview today, former NFL and CFL quarterback Warren Moon was gracious enough. So Big B, roll the clip and check out all the interviews and all the fine stuff we got here at Unbridled Eve Gala.
Your friends and Blessings in a Backpack is just an amazing endeavor, and I'm just proud to be here and support that tonight. And they've asked in the last few years to come, and it's just scheduling things, life, family has not been able to make it. And this year, I'm in the middle of working on something. I asked them, can I get those days off? And so I have these days off, and I'm here.
What brings you to the Unbridled Eve event?
That's the reason why. For Blessings in a Backpack. That's the reason why I'm here tonight.
pretty good stuff.
Absolutely.
I like that. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Very good job.
Appreciate
Job well done.
Well, I couldn't have done it without my cinematographer.
That's right.
I had a camera person there. I had Stephanie there. She was taking all the filming and
she's waving over there.
She's waving.
People
off
can
set.
clearly see her waving.
Yeah,
Yes, she's waving.
The camera has two views.
That's right. But it was a fun event.
I kind of like this us addressing somebody on the outside of the set that's not here.
It's kind of
a lot of people do.
It's kind of cool.
A lot of people have that. You know, they address their producers or people.
She can be her. She can be her Bell Biz, like they have a mic. Research extraordinary.
She can be John Ramos, like on Jay Moore,
or like Jim Fenn locally, or with Locke and all that.
Yeah, could be. Huh? Gelman.
I'm talking about Gelman. By the way, I want to let you finish.
Okay.
But Strahan this morning
was
absolutely hilarious. He started telling Michael now. It was absolutely hysterical. He had overcoat on, a fedora hat, and he was doing like a half strip dance tease to a karaoke song that he was singing.
Oh yeah.
I about died.
An image I want out of my head right now.
He was singing "Sexy Back."
I'm sure he was.
There we go.
So, the event was really good. Like I said, I talked to many celebs and musicians and that.
This, that,
and the other. There was also some entertainment there at the Umbrella Eve. Nicholas Smith from The Voice.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know much about him. He was okay. He kind of reminded me of like a jazzy folk type guy.
Okay.
I mean, he's kind of different. Luke Bryan was there. Of course,
that's a fail.
Of course, that made my cinematographer very happy. No surprise there. And Joe D. Messina, another country act, was also there. But they put on a good show. And it was all. They had a silent auction with many different things. They had something that I know me and you would really love to bid on. And if I had the money and you had the money put together, I would have bid on it. It was a trip for two for a private lesson with Phil Hellmuth in Las Vegas.
Wow.
But
what would that go with? What would that go for?
I don't know what it went for because it was still going.
Oh, wow.
It was still going. But I would imagine
it's still going now.
I would imagine it went for a pretty good penny.
See, that's something you could take a loan out on and be able to pay it back.
So it was good stuff. Glad I got to do it, and I hope as the whole show as a whole, we all get to do that again soon. So it was fun. So with that, let's move on to our Idiot of the Week, and this guy may even be nominated for Idiot of the Year.
What about Idiot of the Century?
It could be.
No, Idiot of the Century was one we had like a couple like this past year. I can't remember what.
I don't know. The guy with the Xbox was pretty far there.
Idiot of the Week this week. Obviously, we talked about a couple weeks back of the tragedy and that happened in the Boston Marathon with the bombings. And obviously, everyone was affected by that. Not just up there, but everyone around the world because it was a horrible event that happened. So this idiot, and I use the term loosely. So I could say something worse, but I'm not going to do that. When you're a sports fan, you should be able to differentiate between sports and reality. This guy obviously clearly cannot do that. Obviously, everyone's heard about the expression they're using now for Boston Strong. Obviously, Boston wants to be strong and recover from this horrible tragedy.
This is good.
This idiot at a Toronto Maple Leafs Boston Bruins game. I think they were playing in Boston time, so this makes it even worse. Boston has Boston Strong, but this guy clearly says that Toronto is stronger.
He brings a sign into the game. It says Toronto is stronger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
really?
So this guy obviously got a ton of negative.
I think idiot is nice.
What that is that's a Canadian. That's a Canadian home front that they just hate. That's a guy that just hates America right there. He's a Canadian that just hates America.
He's a hater.
He got a lot of negative feedback online for this.
As he should.
Yes. So, but it's one of those things that it's a shame that people again can't really extract what sports and reality are. And I mean, you can root for your team and that's fine. And again, this is another thing that happened before. I remember when the Knicks were playing in New York against the Boston Celtics, and Carmelo talked, everyone was cheering for him, and they were talking about the Boston thing. Paul Pierce starts talking, and they boo him. It's just happened because if you want to boo him during the game, that's fine. If you want to boo him, on the bench, that's fine. But don't boo him when he's trying to talk about the city. That's just disrespectful. And this guy did the same exact thing, just showing completely disrespect, not just to the city, but it's just you gotta be able to tell the difference.
Exactly. So Toronto Maple Leaf fan, I don't know what your name is at this point. It doesn't really matter. No. You're this week's episode 98 Idiot of the Week.
I think idiot is enough name for him.
I think idiot is a nice term for this guy.
There was an idiot we had a while back, and I think we were like saying he was idiot of all time. I can't remember who it was though, but I couldn't find it.
Was it the guy with the safe?
I don't know, but you know what? Episode 100 is coming up, so maybe we can do a little. I could do a little research and maybe find who the biggest idiot was of all these episodes. So that'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah,
although I think I'm
well, just my thought. Since you are a 4-time idiot of the week.
Right.
Maybe you are the idiot of all time.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I didn't do anything if it went to that.
Exactly.
That's the point. You never do anything. That's why you're the idiot of the week.
You just broke something.
I know.
So, I think that does the show this week. I think that pretty much does it. So next week's 99.
99. So episode Carl Edwards
99
next
bottles of beer on the wall. 99 bottles of beer. Take one down,
pass it around. 98 bottles of beer on the wall. 98 bottles of beer on the wall.
We want to thank everybody at Ohio Valley Wrestling and Terry and Cheryl Bodie. Oh yeah, 3 times in a row with the public access the last 2 episodes. I got it right. In your face. That's right, the doc's got it right. We want to thank them for everything they do and continue to do. Thank you, Brian Cannon, OVW Mania, OVWblogspot.com. Thank you, OVW Wrestling and Ion Television. Check them out. Thank you all very much for everything you have done, continue to do for us here at Triple Threat Talk.
Keep sending those emails to jimfenn@clearchannel.com. It is absolutely working. We promise.
Keep harassing.
He has even stated, you guys are doing a great job filling up my inbox. But
no joke.
Stop.
Seriously, he said that.
He says that.
Seriously said that.
So,
if you want to flood our inbox, please like us on Facebook at
nice transition there, fella.
Facebook.com/Triple Threat Talk. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can at Triple Threat Talk. And you can send us any comment or question you have, and of course your blog at Triple Threat Talk.
Blogs.
Triple Threat Talk at yahoo.com. Triple Threat Talk, this is Big B.
This is Postmaster Jones. If you're not doing anything this weekend, go to the theater and check out Great Gatsby. I know I will be.
And this is Gary the Dr. Lockard. I'm looking forward to Star Trek next week.
This is Big B signing off. I can't believe these two missed the biggest thing this weekend. Mother's Day! Come on, guys.
Happy Mother's Day!
I'm taking my mother to Derby dinner.
Derby dinner. Derby's over.
Wow.
That's how we end the show.
We'll see you guys next week.
It's a playhouse.
And then they're gonna end the show by continue singing "Bottles of Beer on the Wall." Go ahead, finish the show with that.
97 bottles of beer. 97 bottles of beer.
Wow.